to see ya on today's edition of Me Blinding Myself. I am Courtney Kaiser, the Journey of Shadows. More often than not, this will probably be an impromptu live. I don't like to plan these things. I just get on here when it feels right, and either spirit or the goddess or somebody brings me forward to talk about things, or a friend asks me to talk about something, which today's situation is that. I had a friend reach out just, stating, how are you staying grounded right now? Like, how do I ground? It's been really difficult and challenging right now with everything that's going on, right? They're feeling a little bit of a disconnection. I don't want to be putting words into anyone's mouths, but if I misspeak, but having trouble connecting to empathy and being an empath, and how they are to navigate these chaotic times right now. Because not only are we dealing with the political state of the world, which I stay completely separate from, and you can have your opinions about that, it's fine. We also have, the state of the world and all the things that's happening everywhere. We also have all of the astrological and planetary stuff going on that's bringing out these collective themes and shadows. So, yeah, we got a lot going on right now. And for an empath, or somebody who feels deeply, you may not even know what an empath is, or you may not even know to call yourself that. But you might describe it as like, you feel a lot. Somebody who feels a lot of things. If you feel other people's emotions, if you are deeply impacted and affected by hearing the news in the state of the world, if you're affected by that in a big way, where it's pretty upsetting, triggering, it can overwhelm you, then yeah, Cameron's saying, I am, yep, you are, I am too. And for those of us who, and a lot of people, like, I don't say this as a judgment or oh, thank you. Did you send me a star? Thank you. That's my first star I've ever gotten. Thank you, Cameron. By the way, you guys can send me stars now. I didn't even know that was a thing. Someone asked if they could, and I had to look up what that is. It's basically like little tips, maybe. I guess that's what you call it, which is appreciated, because that's really nice. But anyways, okay, back to what I was saying, empaths. So you can, oh, thank you. You're so nice. I miss you. Cameron, you're making me lose my train of thought. I'm just kidding. Empaths. Okay, so you may identify yourself feeling a lot. You feel other people's emotions. You're affected just greatly by the news and state of the world. You might be feeling overcome by emotion randomly, out of nowhere right now, without hearing any news. There's no triggering event. You could just get really angry all of a sudden, or sad, or anxious, maybe feeling fear, rage, anything like that. I'm in public again, as usual, so you might hear people walking by. But those might be your experiences, in which case I would say, yeah, you're probably an empath, and help yourself by, I'm not always a fan of, like, we have to have labels on things, and we're not disordering ourselves, we're not giving ourselves a disorder. That's not what it is, but it is a term that we can use and dive research further into about what exactly is an empath so that you can validate your own experience and better understand yourself and how to support yourself, right? And so if you're an empath and if you are just feeling greatly impacted by everything right now, the tips of survival. Some of you guys are going to be healers and mystics and people who probably, spiritual people, wellness individuals who might already be taking really good care of yourself in terms of like you do your meditation and breath work and all that stuff. Like you feel pretty grounded, but maybe you're still, you know, feeling a lot and not sure what to do with that. That could be one experience, which I'll get to. But for a lot of people, they don't know coping and grounding skills and they don't know what to do and they don't know why they feel how they feel, and they probably feel a little cuckoo right now and crazy. Oh, thank you, Randy. That's so nice. I appreciate it. Hey, Izzy. But you could be feeling a lot right now. And so coping and grounding skills is going to be number one, looking at that. Am I practicing coping and grounding skills? And you might ask, what is coping and grounding skills? Well, on my website, journeyofshadows.com/resources, I have literal like audio guides and video and handouts for you of various breathwork practices, meditation practices, grounding with earth energy, guided meditation, somatic experiencing. There's all different kinds of stuff, but that's what I would suggest. And if you don't have to go to my website, by all means, you can find this stuff all over the internet, okay? But it's just getting past the program that we have in our shadow, okay? This program to gaslight, dismiss, deny that we need grounding, that we need to help ourselves, that we need help, that we are not okay, that we feel anxious as fuck and can't do anything, can't get out of bed, but we don't help ourselves, right? Like we can't leave the house, or we can't start this project, or we can't, you know, talk to people or be connected to people because we feel overwhelmed, right? And it's like, yeah, if you need to take that space away, do that. And that's also what I would suggest, because as empaths or people that feel greatly, we can have one of two things that happen. We either, a lot of times, go into a career of service, of being in mental health or a healer, helper in some way, shape, or form, right? Because we feel so greatly and we want to help other people heal and feel better, right? To help them heal themselves ultimately. But we could also isolate, right? That's the other part. We can isolate and not be near anybody because we feel so big and we've never had the skills to know how to cope and ground and how to deal with it, how to sit with how much we feel without going into a place of shame, guilt, overwhelm, self-loathing, things like that, where you're not having a good experience, to where you don't want to be around people and you don't want to, oh, Cameron, oh Lord, that picture, yeah, that, yeah, where you just don't want to do things. And then that's not fun either. If you can't function in your life either way, it's like, it's too much. And I've been on both sides. I've been isolated in bed, not being able to leave my house or talk to people or take care of myself. Not even like, not showering, not doing self-care, right? I've been there. I went most of my life without coping and grounding skills, just like all of us. Like, every now and then, like once in a blue moon, like this has happened maybe twice in my life of the hundreds of people that I've worked with, maybe even thousands at this point, that have said that they were raised with parents that taught them coping and grounding skills, or that they like had parents that taught these things. So I was like, really? Like, I know that they exist and they're real and out there, and like people are doing it now, but like the generation before, like our parents' generation, like that was a thing. Like, you're so lucky. Wow. You know, like, it is so rare. And so knowing that like most of us, yeah, don't know what the fuck we're doing, and that's okay. And I think that's the first thing, is like to realize we are not an expert on ourselves, even though we're with ourselves all the fucking time, 24/7, 365 days a year, since birth till death. Okay. But yet we deny and avoid knowing ourselves truly and being honest, meeting ourselves where we're at without judgment or shame or guilt, that we don't even like can't acknowledge what we're needing or what's actually happening in our life. And then we realize, I've been asleep my whole life, you know, because I've been not dealing with this or experiencing this, moving through this. So it's kept me in this state of stagnation or not moving forward or incapable of doing the things I want to do, right? We just want to be mindful of that. So yeah. The other thing I would suggest is disconnect from as much news as possible. Yeah. Hey, Uncle Stu. I don't know if my Uncle Stuart's on here too. Hi. Yeah, they do need to teach at schools. And what's interesting, Cameron, as I digress, they are teaching it at certain Montessori schools, like little tiny schools. Sorry, that's not very PC what I just said, but anyways, they're teaching meditation, because I have some clients tell me about their kids at the school, and they're like, yeah, they have meditation during this time, and they talk about their feelings, and like they just sound so like little wise Buddhas. It's incredible. And I wish that was something that was in public schools, but I think it's not for a reason. There's something greater going on, but that doesn't mean that, you know, teachers couldn't just throw it in there if they wanted to. Anyways, but going back to what I was saying, disconnect from any news you can. And people might think, oh my God, but I won't know anything, and how am I supposed to be a responsible adult that is empathetic and cares if I don't fucking watch the news? Guess what, Linda? You don't have to watch the news and to be informed, nor do you need to be informed about that. Why the fuck do you need to know about that? Why do you need to know? Is it affecting your life directly? Is it helping your life? Is it, what can you do about it? Anything? Sorry, lost connection for a second. But I would, I would just take a look at, okay, how much news are you actively taking in? Okay, so are you watching it in the morning when you wake up? Noticing how you feel before you look or watch, and then after. You will notice a pretty significant spike in anxiety and stress before you even start your day. Okay, and so you're already starting your day off with needing coping and grounding skills, and most of us don't do that. And so then we go about our day, and all these other little triggers end up happening, and we continue to not cope and ground and release that stagnant energy that we continue to pack in and absorb as we continue to deny that we're needing grounding because we're not doing good. And then we watch more stressful, triggering things, and people are then stressing us and triggering us, and then it's like all this other stuff. Okay, and then think about when that goes on for years, decades, right? And then we look at our situation, it's like, yeah, it makes sense why I'm where I'm at, right? Yeah. And having that awareness, like, it's okay that that happened. That's okay. Thank goodness that you're waking up to it, and that you can see that, and that you're still here to do something about it, and that you have so much life left to live, no matter what age you are, because we're ageless. That's another lie. But the shadow, going back to news, ADHD, man. Going back to the news, If you have an app of the news on your phone, delete it immediately. You don't need it. Absolutely no reason do you need that. Even if it's local, you don't need it. You will be perfectly fine. And if you don't believe me, just test it out. Go 1 day or 1 week, maybe, without it on your phone and see what happens. See how much you go to check it. And after you get past that, like, does it really affect you? Do you think about it that much? Right? It's because the news brings stress. It brings anxiety. It brings the same responses that trauma does. It's little t traumas all day and every time you watch it. And that's why it was created. Not just to inform you, because if it was to inform you, there'd be like a whole bunch of more good stuff and positive stuff on the news too, because that stuff's happening all the time, but they don't talk about that. And they're only telling you partial truth. So most of what you see anyways on the news is completely manicured and manipulated with a narrative. So take everything with a grain of salt. Believe what you want, believe what you don't. But I have not been watching the news or anything like that since the pandemic, even before the pandemic, and I'm fine. Okay, I didn't crawl under a rock somewhere and not know anything going on. Believe me, there's enough people around that watch the news to inform me. Like, no matter what, I will be informed. I'm not alone on a planet by myself. You know, like, I'm in connection with people. I will see it either on social media or something. It'll come my way and I can choose whether I want to connect with it or not. Do I want to give that my energy? Do I want to allow that in my consciousness, right? We're not meant to know all the despair and fear and horrible things happening in the world. We're only meant to know, like, what's happening in our tribe, a small tribe at a time, like little communities everywhere. That's what we're supposed to be, not like one big, it's a lot. We're not supposed to know everything. And so that same story that's going to go in your head, no, I have to be informed. No, that's irresponsible. I'm, naive or blind or privileged or whatever the fuck guilt and shame you give yourself to continue to torture yourself, which is interesting. Become aware of that. You'll see it really quick. How you want to give yourself that drug, that hit, that adrenaline through the stress and anxiety, right? Because it's also a trauma response. Like I said, if you have experienced more trauma in your life, especially at a younger age, you are probably going to be more inclined to watch the news. And the less self-care, the less coping and grounding skills you do, the more news you watch. That is something I have noticed. Not to call people out, but to call people out. You know, like, it's across the board what I see, and that is a direct reflection of that. And just mental health and wellness all around, right? We get to choose what we bring into our environment, what makes us feel good, what's necessary, what's important, right? Because we're also downloading and programming in all of that passive information that you're hearing in the background, and the news that you're listening to is all getting programmed in there. So, like, no matter what, it's always going to be in your memory. It's always going to be in your body and your mind. But space is sacred. It's sacred real estate. And we've been led to believe that that's not a thing and, like, we're mindless about it. But it's like, oh my God, like, if all of this stuff stays with me forever, I want to be more selective. I want to be more intentional and selective with what I bring in. What's worthy of my attention, my energy? How do I want to spend this time? Stressing myself out watching these fucking people I don't know on the news? Or do I want to instead do a gentle movement practice and do some breath work, maybe some stretching in the morning instead of, you know, like doing something instead that is going to bring in grounding and coping, right? If you're also an empath, something to look at is like your caffeine intake right now. If you are drinking more caffeine, you will be just more jittery, more anxious, more on edge, because your nervous system is going to be activated, right? So I would maybe back down and that a little bit if you're feeling jumpy. And then also just like making sure that you are doing an energetic protection, protecting your energy. This is something that I do, I don't know how many times a day. I mean, I've already put on like 3 today, but I release them when I'm done too. Oh my goodness, what are you guys? Oh, that was so cute. That was 2 little, I don't know what kind of birds those are. Cute. I thought there was a dog with a squeaky toy. Oh, cute. But you need to protect your energy. I do it multiple times a day. So just for all of you to know, and I can post this in here if people are wanting it, but you can say whatever kind of protective mantra. It doesn't have to be as long as mine or exactly like mine. It can be short and sweet. But when it comes to our energy and protecting it, we have to remember we are the divine creators and protectors of it. And so we need to tell energy where to go and where it can go. We have to give it boundaries. We have to direct. And so anytime I want my energy protected, which is like all throughout the day, anytime I leave the house, anytime I talk to people, anytime I do work sessions, go in public, get in my car, go to sleep, I'm putting on energetic protections. I close my eyes. I imagine creating a golden ring of protection that comes up from the earth. I imagine it like golden sparkling fire that comes up from the earth, going around me 3 times. And then if any of you guys have seen the last Harry Potter movie, where they cover Hogwarts in the protective like bubble, right? Imagining it looks like that, like this golden threaded light bubble all around you, okay? And you can, the more you can get into it and be interactive and get in your imagination, the more legit and real it's going to be, the better it's going to work for you because you believe it to be working. That's how it works. Okay, so you can close your eyes and like smear it and make sure there's no like cracks or holes, creases, making sure you're completely encased above you, below you, front and back. Okay, so like all sides of you, nothing can enter into your bubble of protection. Okay, and that could be your mantra, but mine is, I create this golden ring of protection, allowing only love and light to remain within and emerge from within, keeping out all negativity and other entities outside of this golden ring of protection until I release you. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. So that's what I say multiple times a day. And when I'm done with it, I just imagine closing the bubble down, putting it back into the earth, and say, I close the circle now, sending all the energy back into the earth to be transmuted into pure potential. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Okay? So all of that energy knows exactly where to go and what its job is, what it's doing, how it's helping you, how it can work with you, right? You're working with the elements. But that's a great way to protect yourself. Also, you need boundaries, people. As empaths or people who are helpers, healers, any of the like, we already are going to have an inclination, a pull to want to help people, right? Our friends, giving free advice, people we care about, our partners, our family, everybody. Because if we can help, we will do it. You have to be mindful of that. And it's like, I do it too. And really having this separation of boundaries and limits of like, especially in times like right now, like I'm almost completely dark. I'm not really talking to people. If I haven't responded to people, I have also just told them like, I'll talk to you after the new moon and the eclipse window closes, right? So, because things are just overwhelming right now. It's a lot. And I've needed my space for my own sanity. I can't handle talking to a lot of people. And when I'm in creation space, I have to disconnect from people, right? So that's also the area where you need to look at is the people you are surrounding yourself with, your environment. Is it triggering your nervous system, or is it soothing it? What else can you be doing to bring in more regulation, right? Maybe this friend that you keep hanging out with is stressing you the fuck out and kind of annoys you sometimes, and maybe like, I don't know, you feel exhausted after hanging out with her, right? And you're like, I don't know, she drains me. Maybe she's like not somebody I want to be hanging out with right now. Like, okay, well then protecting your energy in that way, right? And not going into the people pleasing of like, well, I told her we'd hang out, or like, I feel bad. No, your energy is sacred. You are sacred. And it's not that they're not sacred either, but like, you have the ability to pick and choose who you want to spend your time with. You do not have to do anything you don't want to do. And that's something we always convince ourselves of, like, oh, this friend of mine, like, I have to be a good friend. I have to do all these things. But it's like, when people are making themselves do this, you know, show up for these people or these friends, and but they're realizing like, ooh, they drain me. Hey, Renee. But they're not, maybe, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Maybe they're not, taking into account that like the relationship's changed. Maybe this friendship is actually over. We have nothing to talk about. I'm like becoming more interested in this other stuff that they think is really taboo or not real, or like I feel ashamed or embarrassed when I talk to them. I don't feel like I can talk to them about it. I don't know what to talk to them about anymore. It's like, that is a sign that you've outgrown a situation, and our society didn't really tell us how to end relationships, friendships, things like that. And we were taught to like keep people around, keep doing these things, keep doing things for other people. It's always other people. And as empaths, we have to be more about ourselves. It's breaking away from the programming of being about other people. Care about yourself more. Rather than checking on that other person, thinking about that other person, turn that around to yourself. What am I feeling actually? I need to check in with so-and-so. Are you avoiding? Because you actually need to be checked on and aren't doing good. And that's why you're, you know, going towards your friend, because you want to avoid the responsibility by checking on your friend. Not having to look at yourself, staying busy, right? We have to be mindful that is going to come up. And knowing that like, just because shit is fucking crazy right now doesn't mean that you need to be giving your services for free all the time just because people are going through it. Because then you're going to go through it and you're going to be fucking burned out. And then when the healer and the helper and the wise friend is burned out, like, then that's not good, right? It's like, we gotta, our job right now as healers, empaths, is to be as grounded and stable as we can be so that we can help the collective move through all of these emotions and energies and patterns and traumas, whether conscious or unconscious, okay, that everybody's feeling. And yeah, so making sure that you're taking time to yourself, saying no to people, not being afraid to say to your friend, like, you know, I love you, of course I want to be able to help you, and like I'm cool with like doing a few tips, or like if you guys are hanging out and it's like you feel inspired to like do a meditation, or you just feel something like really from your heart and you want to do. But anybody who asks for services, no matter how close they are to you, it's like, what is that level of you taking care of yourself and you protecting your sacred energy and space and not absorbing theirs? Can you say no to some people? Or be like, I'm comfortable with, I would love to help you out, but like I'm exhausted and drained and I can't, you know, like I'm struggling paying my bills right now. I'm doing a lot of free, you know, help or lower cost help, and I could really use money too. Like, if you don't mind throwing me some money, I'd be happy to, you know, help you with this, right? This is about moving into the age of reciprocation for energy, of gratitude, of appreciation, monetization for presence, for wisdom, for holding space, for healing, for all the things that we're truly needing, right? Putting our money and value towards those things that are going to in turn bring that back, right? Because the better you feel, the more grounded and good you are, the better your work and relationships and everything else is going to be. Everyone else benefits, including yourself, right? So just going through the list of like, okay, what stories, what shadow programs do I have that probably isn't yours, but they're beliefs that you've been led to believe are normal, and you're supposed to have, like family's thicker than blood and like toxic shit like that. Because you know what? A lot of families, not a lot, there's some families that that does not apply. Or family above all else, that doesn't always apply either. And some souls don't come from the same literal family and are like literal aliens in this human family. So, yeah, I'm digressing. Okay, going back to what I was talking about. So other ways empaths can help themselves. Staying connected, not with people that, and this is not as a judgment again or shame. I'm very straightforward with things and I call things out. I'm very blunt about things, and I don't say it as a way to objectify people or be mean or call names. I just say things as they are. So just know that I'm like very matter of fact with things. I don't mean it offensively. But, and I forgot what I was going to say now. Oh Lord. Cool. Cool, guys. You're struggling? I'm so sorry you're struggling. Yeah. But grounding skills, guys. You need to ground. You need to look at, how am I channeling or using this energy? Right? If you are feeling a lot of things, if you're struggling and you aren't doing anything about it, though, of course you're going to keep struggling. And this is something that sometimes our shadow, or like our consciousness, doesn't even see it, even though we're saying it and we are aware of the situation. We don't see it as point blank as someone like me sees it, where it's like we have this shadow that's like, no, don't help yourself. Why are we feeling like this? Why are we so dysregulated? Why do we feel I'm really struggling right now? And it's like, well, are you coping and grounding? It's like, no. Well, there's your answer, because you're not coping and grounding. And a lot of people who have made it to a certain place thus far without coping and grounding, guess what, bitch? Shit doesn't work like that anymore. This is not the age of Pisces any longer. We are in the age of Aquarius, or almost in the age of Aquarius. I know that part gets confusing because we are but aren't. It's like the end of the Piscean age. But yeah, shit's different now. Things are different. We are going to be affected by things. We're going to be impacted by things. It is no longer an option to not do trauma or shadow work. Like, we are being asked to level up in terms of our DNA, consciousness, all of that. And to do that, we have to move through trauma. It doesn't mean go revisit our trauma. That's not what it's about. But it is about feeling emotions and providing yourself with what you need emotionally and your nervous system, and following up with your self-talk and really, really, really honing in on your self-talk. Because I guarantee you, if you're struggling right now, what is your self-talk doing? What is it doing? Because that, if you don't feel good at any point in time, in general, you're either feeling collective energy as like an emotion run through you, but what's more than likely happening 99.9% of the time is going to be your self-talk happening on an unconscious level. And the reason why I say this is because brain scans and neuroscience research has said that we only have access to 5 to 10% conscious awareness at all times, at any waking moment. So that means we are working with 90 to 95% shadow. Anything that is not in our conscious awareness, I consider shadow. I write about this in my book of all about my method towards shadow work. But if we're only working with that much, think about how much is happening underneath. And that's been most of my blocks, is like these very hidden from me, didn't come from this life, self-talk things happening that I had to become aware of and start to account for and deprogram out, programming new things in. But I would have not known that I would have even been there, or known to do that work, or worked with that thing to help me move through it, right? So we like to, because in the age of patriarchy, we like to, it was all about ego. The ego, what we know about ourselves. I know best. I know, I'm conscious. I know what's happening. I know what I said. No, you don't. No, you don't. You're 5 to 10% conscious. There is so much happening that you do not know. And so let me just be clear. We know almost nothing that's happening at all times. Unless you are actively learning something, like in the middle of learning a task, doing a task, deductive reasoning, making a decision, like short-term memory, you're not in consciousness, okay? When you're just talking, like I'm speaking right now from my shadow, I am consciously selecting what parts are coming from my shadow, right? But most of my words, like, I'm not thinking about my words. It's all shadow coming out. How my hands are doing these gestures, how my body moves when I talk. That's all shadow. Subconsciously programmed in how I move and my mannerisms and everything. It's all shadow. My face moving, all of my body processes right now. Everything is shadow. Me even knowing how to talk. All of this stuff is playing in the background. And so you can imagine that, oh yeah, there's thoughts, because when I go in with my clients and we do the guided meditation that I created, we find out exactly, and that's exactly what's happening. It's like there's all these statements, there's this need that needs to get met, right? So it's like being able to acknowledge, I don't know everything that is happening. I don't know all of my self-talk. There's so much happening that I am not aware of. Yes, all of these things could be possible. Just even giving yourself that benefit of the doubt is very helpful. Okay, that's the first step in the right direction. We are not experts on ourselves. We think we are, but we are not. We are learning. We are students of ourselves. We are constantly learning, and there's constantly something to witness, observe, learn, understand, empathize with, experience. There's so much on a daily basis all throughout your day of like, interesting. That's how I do a lot of my shadow work. That's how I figure things out, and spirit shows me things. It's like, I do that. Interesting. Oh, you know, like some things are like, oh, I don't love that I saw that, but I now know that I do that, and now I can do something about it because I don't want to do that. So now I cannot do that anymore, right? Like, I'm aware of it, right? We fear like connecting with it, but it's like, that doesn't mean you don't do it still. Just because you don't see it or choose to not see it doesn't mean it's not still happening, right? So it's like, yeah, be brave, be honest with yourself. You're around people who see it or experience it anyways. The only person not in the know is you, more than likely. So just jump on board, everybody. And acknowledge, like, yeah, there's probably self-talk happening right now in the background if you're not doing well, depending on what it is that was the triggering event, what you are telling yourself about all of the events happening, about things that are going on, people, what are the narratives, what are the stories that you're connecting to? Like, there's so much happening that you can look at to help yourself with, okay? And I just think it's really important. And if you're somebody who likes to fixate on things and be passionate about something, especially with today's age, okay, where we're learning about new information all the time, new studies, but again, it's like more raising of awareness, more things that could create anxiety, even though it's like, yes, I know this thing, but it's giving me anxiety. But if we fixate on that, and then we spend all of our time like focusing on that, and like, not to say there's anything wrong with that, and you know, like for example, it's like it could be nutrition or like your physical health or something, like exercise, I don't know, something like that, or the way you look, right? Any of the ways we can really hone in and focus on as a way to divert that energy, right? But still looking at like, is this coming from a balanced way? Am I still giving myself the power of divine creation? Am I still in awareness that I am a divine creator of my own reality and experience, and I can create whatever narrative I want, whatever story, with circumstances, environment that I want? Or am I in a shadow program where I feel afraid, overwhelmed, powerless to my situations, environment, experiences, life, to the world, all these things, right? So looking at, am I in my power, disconnected from a balanced place, taking in information as a way of helping myself, staying informed